over 120,000 people have gone through the X-Culture project. And I hope and I know that most of them go on to achieve great success. And occasionally we hear from one of such students who not only achieved great success, but also at least partly due to X-Culture experience. And so here we have Professor Tim Muth of Florida Institute of Technology, who said, hey, I had this very interesting guest speaker in my class, Federika. So she was in my class, she was in X-Culture, and now she's building airplanes. So she spoke to my class and she shared how X-Culture experience both helped her a little bit when she was getting the job and also a little bit as she was progressing through her career, and she delivered an outstanding presentation. I'm like, wait a second. So if you present it to your students, maybe we want to invite Federica to present to all of X-Culture students and maybe even beyond the X-Culture community. And so I shoot an email to Federica and she says, okay, I'm busy, but I'll find a few minutes for you. And so here we are. And so here with me, we have Karen Linden, another X-Culture executive. So Karen is responsible for all kinds of things, the coaching program, the symposium, the faculty development workshop. So she's been with X-Culture for many, many years. And so she's at the University of North Carolina in Wilmington.
Thank you, boss. Good morning, Federica. I don't have to introduce her too much other than say that she was an outstanding student in my class. And I'll let her introduce herself and some of the things that she did in addition to going to school and doing well in education. But Federica, why don't you take over here and share your story with our students? Thank you, boss. Good seeing you, Karen.
Thank you so much. I think I can just share my presentation because I do have a slide of introduction. So if that's okay, I can take over here.
Federica, so you studied at Florida Institute of Technology, but originally you're from Italy, is that correct?
I'm from Italy. Yeah, born and raised in Italy.
And where exactly in Italy? X-Culture had
Sardinia.
In Italy before, and we'll have another one soon.
Yeah, actually, I'm from Sardinia, so it's an island. But I used to live near Rome, so I moved there for rowing. Sport has been a big part of my life. That's the reason why I moved to the US with a scholarship for rowing. I represent Italy in 3 World Championships, so that's why I got this opportunity to study internationally.
Did you say rowing?
Rowing, yeah.
Like rowing, like this kind of rowing, right?
Yes.
Real rowing.
I used to be a competitive kayaker, so like this kind of rowing. So, but that was a long, long time ago, and no scholarships for me. So.
So let me see. I think I can.
It should allow you to share your slides if you need.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Coming up now.
And so for the students, so here's what we'll do. So there is a presentation, and then if you have questions, you can put them in Q&A. And then also, if you would like to ask questions, feel free to raise your hand. Our hope is that you will learn from Federica's experience and maybe use some of the same approaches as you will be looking for jobs, I assume, now or soon for most of you.
Thank you. So this picture is actually the Calgary Symposium. So I was there with Professor Muth and some of my...
2019, right?
Yes, exactly, yeah. So just to start, I will talk more about that. But yeah, today I'm gonna talk about myself a little bit just to give some background. I'm gonna talk about the X-Culture opportunity, and then I would like to offer some tips of navigating the job search. Hopefully we have a lot of junior, senior here in the call, so that can be helpful. And also some tips to succeed as a new hire. Again, as I mentioned, I was born and raised in Italy. I arrived in the US in 2016. Actually, my English was not as good as it is right now. My first semester was a bit rough for that. And I got my bachelor in 2019. After that, I spent a brief time in Brazil, where I was trying to row professionally there. And then I decided to go back to...
When you say professionally, you mean like for a university or like Olympics level?
No, I was actually training for a team, and my goal was to race at the Olympics. That's something that I decided not to pursue. It was a bunch of factors, but for sure COVID was also a big contributor. So when that happened, I actually that's when I decided to become an X-Culture coach. That right in 2020. And then I also started my MBA. I started my MBA at Florida Tech and then switched to a master in accounting and financial forensics.
So just to be sure, so you participated in X-Culture first as a student, Then
Yes,
you joined the
correct.
coaching program and you were the coach. So you went through the coaching program, helped
I
others.
yeah,
And
I
you
went to the
also
coaching
attended the
program.
symposium in Canada, so a face-to-face meeting in 2019. So you basically went through
Yes.
the full spectrum of the programs that we offer.
Yes, and then I also became a senior coach. So
Oh,
that
okay. And
I
then,
guess I
okay,
got
okay.
everything. Yeah.
So coach of
Um,
coaches. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
yes,
the full experience.
the full experience. Yeah. And then I graduated from my master, and then I started working at Embraer as a business analyst. And then after a year, I got promoted to project manager, and that's the position that I'm currently in.
So what is your geography now? Where do you live now?
So I'm still located in Melbourne, Florida, which is the
Uh-huh.
same city where we have Florida Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
we are here in
those
Florida on the
students
Space
at
Coast.
Cape Canaveral, so they literally see the rockets fly from their backyard, or they see from their backyard the rockets fly from Cape Canaveral, right?
Yes, I can see from the front of my house. I can see whenever there is a launch, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, what is Embraer? We are a multinational aerospace corporation. We have office all over the world, Europe, Americas, Asia, and we are the third largest producer of civil aircraft. So after Boeing and Airbus, it's us. And we also have multiple business units. So in my case, I work in executive. So we do private jet. Pretty cool industry to be in. And yeah, I'm enjoying a lot what I do right now.
And Voss and Karen, what Federica has promised is to charter a jet for us next time we go
for the next meeting.
I saw those photos. They're beautiful.
Federica, tell them about the price range of the jets that you guys build.
Yeah, if you have like...
Wait, let me guess. Students, can you put your guesses in the comments, like how much a jet like this costs?
The lowest, because there's several models. So the lowest.
Yeah, we have several levels. Let's
so
see
like the one on the photo that's like what, like a dozen people probably, right?
Yeah, actually this one is like almost the highest. So
that's one of the. So, but I don't know. I assume it's in millions, but how many? I don't know.
Here's a 10 million guess. Okay.
Let's see. Okay.
How many guesses we have?
And yes, so we have. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, I'll put my guess. So where's the comments here? Karen, what is your guess?
I'm terrible about this. I'm not in the market. I don't know.
Not in the market.
I'll put 15 million. 15 million.
Karen's going to buy a plane.
I don't know. Federica, tell us how much.
So it's going to be somewhere between like 4 or 5 million to like 27.
Oh, okay. So we are all.
So we are like, yeah, you are in the range. Yeah.
Somebody said 2 billion. Well, that's.
No, that would be it. Yeah, we do like mid-side jets, so like small and mid-side. So
we'll be coming to Greensboro to pick you guys up.
Okay. All right.
So I think the next one is So X Culture.
Federica, before you go on, the company is headquartered in Brazil. Talk a little about working with Brazilian owners while you're in the US and how that all works.
So yeah, the headquarters is in Brazil. So we have basically I deal daily with people from Brazil, but also like other countries, because again we do have people all over the world. So it's a very interesting situation to be in, as an X-Culture alum, because you have a lot of people that are not from the US, right? I'm also myself not from the US, even though I've been here for 8 years. And then you also have a lot of people from all different countries, because being a multinational corporation, you will have people, from Asia, you have people from Africa, like you have people here that they have all the different backgrounds. So I think that's something that, X-Culture helped me a lot as far as building up like my curriculum to be here, let's say. And also another thing that I wanted to mention is that during college, actually X-Culture was kind of like my biggest job experience, because other than X-Culture, because of the sport, I didn't have the opportunity to do any external internship. So I basically use X-Culture as my main selling point, let's say, when I was applying for jobs. And I think that was very, very good.
Yeah, and I always say that the main purpose of X-Culture is to sort of give you a preview of what it is like to be in the real workplace. And the real workplace now is like X-Culture. You would have people from all around the world. And sometimes students complain like, oh, this person in this country is bossy or too lenient or too strict or English is not good enough or holidays on strange schedules. But that's the point. I mean, it will not be any different. It will be exactly the same thing once you do it sort of as part of your job. No, it will not be that all of a sudden everybody will be speaking perfect English or everybody calendar all of a sudden is the same. No, it will be the same challenges. So the whole point here is when the students experience problems, I sort of feel sorry for them, but at the same time, I'm actually happy because, that's a good preview of what to expect when they do it in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think, for me going through all the phases, I think I can, more in this slide, I can kind of like break down into the main phases. Let's say starting with the first experience, which was the actual project, right? That all of the students here are going through right now. It was kind of interesting because even though I was from a different country, right, and I was studying in the US, I actually didn't realize until when we started the project how difficult it is to work with different time zone. Italy has 6 hours difference, but then I had a teammate in my group that was from Australia, and we had 12-hour difference. So that was the first, I think, like hurdle for me, starting the project. And that's something that, I experienced right now as well, because we have different time zone working. But this is like kind of like understanding that, maybe you are starting the day and somebody is ending, and getting this awareness. And also, cultural wise, like, sometimes, we all speak English in X culture, but then, we all have different backgrounds. So like understanding that and have this awareness that, okay, I say something a certain way and somebody from a country can take it one way. Or for me, it's normal to, deliver a news in a certain way, but maybe that's not the best way for them to receive. That's something that, helped me a lot right now. Like I made the example when I went to FIT to talk with a student. A lot of people that work with me are from Brazil, and they are conflict adverse. So for me, being Italian, for us is like, okay, to have a conflict, pretty direct. If we don't like something, we can say, hey, this presentation is very bad, and there is no problem with that. People will take the feedback and just, go back and do the presentation again. But here I had to learn that actually, you have to be more sensitive on how you deliver, so you don't say, this presentation is not good. You will maybe say like, maybe this presentation is not what I was expecting. Let's change this and that. So you have to be more careful about how you deliver the message. And this is something that, X Culture helped me a lot building, because during the time there, I realized, okay, if I try to push this person the way an Italian would do, would not work. So I think that was very, very good, having this cultural awareness and understanding like, okay, different people get feedback in a different way. Also, another thing that helped me that is not necessarily related to culture, but, the X Culture project helped you a lot, is that not everybody will contribute the same. Like you cannot expect, all the people to contribute the same way. So people will have different rate of contribution based on their skills. And I think that helped me a lot as well, as far as like, becoming a project manager and making the jump from business analyst to project manager, because I had that understanding, and, I have the capability to kind of like understanding, okay, we have in this team and we have these people with these skills. And when you accept that nobody's gonna do, nobody's a top performer, then you also like align your expectation and can have a better scheduling, for your project. Let me think. So yeah, so this is also related to, again, leading team, global virtual team. And of course, the experience of solving a complete business case was also a very, very good experience that made me understand, how much I enjoy kind of seeing a problem on all the different aspects. With X Culture, at the end, you develop a full business proposal. So you have all the aspects. So that as well, it's what brought me, I have a master in accounting and financial forensics, but I'm a project manager because I really had this exposure, and I really enjoy the part of, leading project.
Did you say financial forensics? Is that like looking for criminal activity in accounting?
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, it's like, yeah, you are looking for proof that you can use in court for, you know, forensics proof. Yeah.
I didn't even know there was
So
a profession like that, accountant forensics or forensic
yeah. Yeah, so actually, when I was applying for a job, I was indecising between, taking this job or going for auditing. That it's more like kind of the classic route that you go to, accountant or auditor. But then I really felt in love with the product. Funny enough, how I got exposed to the company was also through a project during school. So I just fell in love with the product, and I was like, I want to try to work there. Let's see how it goes. So. And then, so as far as the opportunity with the project, I think the first phase, which is again the project itself with the first exposure, I would say was the most painful. Like, was not, was fun, but was also, challenging. But I really enjoy, at the end, my team was able to also get best reports, so that was also a nice.
Your team was okay. That's actually quite something. Out of 1,000 teams, that's a big deal.
Yeah, so we really enjoy, and again, it was challenging because it was very hard to get everybody together at first, and was my first. I was chosen as a team leader for the group, and was my first. I'm actually a very shy person, so it was my first experience where I was like a formal leader, let's say. So I was very proud of the of the process that we went through, and then we were able to deliver a good job. And then what was the most amazing thing is that then we were selected to go to Calgary, and one of my teammates, Angus from Australia, he was there too. So I was able to meet him in person. So that was another very, very good thing that. It was just an awesome experience. And then, of course, the Calgary experience, meeting people from all over the world. I still have them on LinkedIn, so I see, what they are doing and how they are doing is just very, very nice. And then again, in 2020, I decided to become a coach because I thought was a very good opportunity for me. Again, after going through the X-Culture experience, I was like, it was challenging, but I felt like I learned a lot. And I was like, I want to take this additional challenge and see if I can, be a coach and help students solving the cases. So I think that part was like a different set of challenges, right? Because now you are guiding the student and solving problem. And this part, I think.
For the students who are in X-Culture now, they may not know. So we invite the best students to become coaches for the new generation of students. So basically, those of you who will do well this semester will be invited to become coaches next year. And so you will have to go through some training and selection to qualify. So we will prepare several training modules for you on things like how to provide feedback, how to resolve conflicts, things like that, how to organize a seminar, webinar. And so those of you who pass that training, so then you become coaches for the new generation of X-Culture students, and it's a different experience. So now you are members of teams, and then you will be sort of like mentors, coaches, advisors, judges even. And so that's a managerial type of job. And then the best coaches become senior coaches, so basically coaches of coaches. So that's a whole different experience yet again. So that's an experience that, again, many managers don't have. I mean, how many people have an opportunity to coach hundreds of teams comprised of people from all around the world? So this is a interesting sort of experience that, as I said, not many people on this planet literally have. Like, some work in teams, obviously, but to be coaches of many teams, international teams, that's quite unique.
Yeah, so definitely the coaching part was very, very good as far as preparing me for my current role, and also like was just a very rewarding experience, even though sometimes it was very complex issue, and you had to put yourself, because I mean, you receive an email, right, with an issue, and you don't necessarily know, what is going on. So I think this part of like the problem solving of like, okay, I'm going to understand what's going on and I'm going to try to give my best advice, and there are different type of things that you are trying to solve. Sometimes it might be conflict between the team, but sometimes can be also just, I need help with my proposal. We are kind of lost. So I think this process really helped me, like developing kind of like a logical way of like solving problems on a like real base. So you are not just, thinking about a case in a classroom, but you are actually like talking with real people that have real issue and you are trying to help them. So that was very, very good for me as well. So I feel like I got a lot of training and was a high volume of things that you were going through, even though was not that many months, but was a lot of constantly, trying to solve this issue, and then you will have multiple things going on at the same time. So that really prepares you for what the workplace is about, I would say, because you will have this, you are not going to work on one thing and nothing else is going on at the same time. And then I remember I think it was after I became a senior coach, where there you are kind of mentoring the coach. So you are basically teaching them how to do and guiding them on how to handle this volume of requests. And also you are evaluating, like we will have an Excel with what they suggest, and you will be evaluating kind of their feedback and kind of give some advice on how to improve. And I think at the end of that semester, that's when I volunteered for the chair for reviewing the business proposal. And that was also, a very good experience. Intense. It was a lot of business proposal, but that trained my eyes as well, as far as, reading a business proposal, looking for information and really evaluating, giving a score on what the proposal was about. And I took that job with like high responsibility, because I was a student before, so I knew how much work people put in creating the proposal. So I think that summarize again was kind of a long process that I tried to summarize in few points, but it made me a better team member and also a leader in a certain way, so that people felt comfortable asking for help and just knowing that I was just trying to kind of like develop them and not like, let's say, judging them. And this skill also help a lot right now.
And Federica, when you were interviewing for a job with Embryar, did X culture come up, and what kind of questions did you get about it?
So actually, well, I think I definitely spoke about it during the interview, right? Because that was my biggest point in my resume that I put there, and how, I was really used to deal with international team and, also like virtual team. Again, having a lot of people from different countries means that we have to work with people that are not here. And it's very hard sometimes, because when you see somebody in person, it's different than if you never saw them, right? So I think that was the selling point to get my foot into the door. And then after, when I was working as a business analyst, when they were developing, basically they were starting what I do for job right now. Then I just started helping a little bit, and taking on more responsibility. And my first, kind of like to get myself involved, I said, hey, I have experience with project and I review a lot of business proposal, and I enjoy this part. And I just like start taking more and more, to the point that then, I was able to get my promotion and just getting that as my formal job.
Right.
And the truth is, for students, again, as you will be applying for jobs, most of the applicants, at least those who are right out of college, they kind of look the same on the resume, because all went to a good school, all took the same classes, all got good grades, had some internship, more or less the same type of resume. So you want to stand out. And so the culture experience often is one of these things that, are you a world-class international business manager? Well, probably not. Do you have something that others don't, so that other students who are applying for the job don't have? Yeah, that's something, and yeah, you may not be here and everybody else is here. You're like a little bit above. But when when the HR or managers are looking for people, so they see everyone equal, and you have something that nobody else does, so you get that job. So make sure that you do bring it up, because that will differentiate you from the other applicants.
Yeah, if I could just interject, there's a lot of great storytelling that everyone can have, and it doesn't mean that you had a perfect situation with your team. But I'll tell you that before I was in academia, I was also doing some project management with a marketing firm. And we would have global teams, but usually it was a client in Belgium, one programmer in Manila, but it wasn't this dynamic, multiple people from different time zones. So you all have these really rich stories to tell when you go into the workplace. They say, oh, well, we were just going to give you a client portfolio with 2 other countries, but wow, you've already had these experiences, you know what it's like. So
especially if your team did experience some problems in the moment, it feels painful. Like, oh, this guy, this girl, something's going wrong. They never show up for the meeting. They are in Australia 12 hours away. They have this French culture. They always party. They never work. So in the moment, that seems like a problem. But that's a great story to tell during the interview. And they're like, oh, it's just all the time. We actually need someone who knows how to deal with situations like that, especially if you actually found a solution. And they're like, oh, we need you. So you'll have people from whatever country, Australia or Brazil. And I'm so glad you have this experience. You're hired. So basically, the worse it goes during X-Culture, the more mileage you get out of it when you
as long as you know how to position it and really process it.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you present it as important experience. So yes.
Perfect. And I think one thing I want to add too is that kind of like the X-Culture experience really made me want to learn more languages. So when I went through X-Culture, I did not speak Portuguese. And then, I was studying Spanish at the time, and I studied French. But at that point, I was fluent in Italian and English already. But kind of like that exposure to see that, okay, people speak different language, that really motivated me to study. So that's when I got myself an app and started studying. And at the time, I didn't know I would end up working for a Brazilian company, but that's also something that, was kind of like a hint that I got from getting to the program that then was very, very helpful, down the road. So advice to, people that are currently in the program, if you have a teammate from, a certain country and you are curious about their language, just start learning, a few words and then see if that interests you. You never know when you will actually need that. So that was also another thing that it was very nice.
The world of competitive commerce, every little advantage counts. So yes.
So I think now I'm to the part where I would like to talk about navigating the job search. Again, it's not easy. If you are about to graduate from college, that's a kind of a stressful time because you are kind of going from being a student, now you are like a young adult and you have to, get yourself a job. So these are some tips that help me and that I would like to share with you. So the first one is try to narrow down your option while keeping an open mind. So this will be kind of like choose maybe a position or an industry or maybe a company. Try to narrow down, what you want to do, but also keep an open mind because maybe during your search, you'll see something that interests you and you should not, be like, oh, that's out of my industry, so I'm not going to apply, but try to be intentional on what you apply to. I've been there, at first my strategy was just applying to everything, did not go well. So when I start, narrowing down my option, that's when I start, getting interview and getting traction. Then the second one is use the tool available. Usually the university have like career center or, of course, LinkedIn is also a very good tool. But each country will different on, which tool are available to you. But, keep an open mind also. If you are looking for a job in a different country, then try to learn where do the people look for jobs there. It might not be the same tool that you use, in your own country.
Did you apply to the company as a Brazilian company, or did you apply to the US office, or like?
So in this case, I applied to the US office since I was here, located in Melbourne. But for instance, I was also looking at the other option, if I was going to apply to job in Italy, the process will be, kind of different on how you go about it. Like here in the US, again, my university had also a career service center that I use as well, to review my resume. But yeah, I applied directly here. Mm-hmm. So for instance, the process to apply in Brazil completely different than here, for example.
So in a way, you were applying for a job at a Brazilian company, but a job at an American.
Yeah, at an American. Yeah, the process is like standard as far as like, let's say, as you would apply for any other local company. So there was not really a huge difference, other than, the person that was interviewing me was from Brazil in that case. So that was the only difference. But
And how did you find them? You said you did some project for them, or
so yeah, it was kind of, so basically I was in an accounting class, and then I had to choose like some companies to do some like financial statement analysis. And then just like we had a list of company, and then I just like happened to choose Embraer. And then by that, then I was like, I went to the website and see, how the plane looked like. And I was very surprised by seeing, how beautiful they were. Like you can see here, this is an interior of our plane. So I was, growing up, I was very passionate about, sports car in Italy and all of these like luxury goods.
Like a flying Lamborghini.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Ferrari. So yeah. But yeah, so I was it was just like kind of happened by chance. Let's say I did not know very much about like the aerospace industry growing up. Of course, coming here to the Space Coast, I learned a little bit more, but it was kind of like just like something that happened on the way. And then I just, I met somebody that worked there, talked to them, and, they really like working there. So just, and this is bringing me to the third point, like talk to your network. If you know somebody that worked there, or even if you don't know them, reach out, ask how is working there. Sometimes you might think, a company, it's a good fit for you, but maybe talking with people you understand, or maybe it's not, so just make sure that you talk to the people in the network. And if you don't have a network, build one. It doesn't have to be a huge network. You take one yes, to get a job. So you want to try to, of course, to be broad if you can, but you don't need to have many connections. If you have the right connection, you might just need one. So that's my third point. And of course, be patient. Navigating the job search is not easy at all. And, can be very stressful. And sometimes there are times where you might get sad and you might even doubt yourself, but please don't, be positive, because the right opportunity will come and you will succeed eventually if you persist. So this is just like, few points. I hope they help on how to navigate the job search. And which brings me to my next point, which is actually, once you get the job, some few tips on how to succeed. The first one is definitely show up on time and be accountable. People really appreciate when, you're supposed to be there, you are there, you show up on time, you did, your homework, what you were supposed to do. And also when you take accountability for the action. Sometimes people make mistake. I make mistake myself, even, at the beginning, the first days, but the important thing is for you to be able to, okay, I made this error, like I'm going to fix it. This is how I'm going to fix it. But, this is something that it's very important. If you want to be successful, take responsibility for your action. That's very important. The second one is be curious and willing to learn. So be open. You are going to have colleagues that are working on different things. Try to understand, if it's something that interests you, try to understand, what they do, and if you can learn new skills that can help you, even if it's not the immediate job that you have, do it. Again, in my case, I was a business analyst. I was not doing much of a, project manager job, but I really try to like learn from the different people. I will talk with the finance people, I will talk with the people in the production line. And I do this nowadays as well, as I do projects that kind of embody all the areas. So just try to always learn, that's something important if in any aspect of life, if you want to keep growing. And then the third one is to speak up. So if you see something that, is not right, or if you have a comment, just, raise your hand and say it. There is no problem in raising issues when there are issues, but it's very important that you are not just, following everything without like thinking about it. So it's important that you show that you have critical thinking, and by like saying it, that helps a lot. And then last but not least is be a problem solver. Again, you want to be that person that when there is an issue, you find the solution. And now you are practicing that, as an ex-culture student, you are solving a business challenge. You want to keep going and having that mindset where, you are the person that, when there is something, you are the one that will, raise your hand and say, hey, let's do this way. And, sometimes you will provide a solution and people don't go with that solution, but that's okay. The important thing is that you develop these thinking skills and the capability to communicate, and that will make you successful, regardless of that specific case. So I think that's all I have for today. And
a few questions.
I guess
so we're a little over time, but so we do have some questions from students and
Hey, boss, the first one for Frederica. So share just a short little insight into your personal life also. So while you're going through this professional journey, what was happening with your family life?
So during my last semester of grad school, I had my first kid. So
congratulations.
Yeah. So that's when I had to stop being a senior coach, because that was like just too much. After my undergrad, I got married with my college sweetheart from Florida Tech as well. So, and then we had our first child that he's now 3-year-old. So that's all another set of challenges, but that's
life goes on, right? Life goes on.
Yeah.
A lot happens. Yeah. Federica, so if you were able to go back in time, you wake up and it's 2016 all over again. So would you do anything differently? Maybe to make it, I don't know, more efficient, or to skip some steps?
So I would say definitely I will try to learn English better before arriving. I struggle a lot, and that's definitely something I will study English better when I was back in Italy, and I thought I didn't need it. So that's something I would do differently. And then it's hard to say, what you will do differently. I feel like all the challenges that I had to face kind of prepare me for where I am right now. So I cannot really imagine, something that I will do, but I guess just keep working hard, that's something I would not change, and just, be positive. That's the main two things that I would say.
So Tunis here is asking, or Tunis, skills or courses for business consultancy. So any specific skills or courses that would be very helpful in your line of work, other than you mentioned show up on time, be curious, be responsible?
Well, for sure. I mean, for me, again, if she's interested to become a coach, that helped me a lot, I would say. That's the experience that I had that prepared me a lot. And then, of course, in my case now as a project manager, I'm working on my certification, for project managers. So look if there are any certification, or I use a lot LinkedIn Learning as well. They have a lot of different, different courses. So but I would say, business consultant is kind of a very broad job. So the more skill you can learn, during the course of your study, and just diversify those, that will be very helpful. But for sure, communication is a big one, I would say.
Yeah, something I'd add to that, boss, that Federica also got involved with case competitions we did outside the university, which I think also helped her with analytical skills, communications.
Yeah.
I remember sometimes a coach would yell at me because if she goes out with us there that she couldn't train, but she gets early in the morning to try to work out with weights and stuff and still go through the competitions. But I think all those things added to the skill set she's got now.
Yeah. And you never know what kind of skills you will need. So while you're a student, I guess the more you get of those skills, much of that may not be necessary, but at least it looks good on resume. And then who knows what direction your job will
Builds up your
take.
confidence. Yeah.
So very good. Yeah, I agree with that. Yes. Federica, one more question, if I may, just professional curiosity. How is Brazilian sort of business culture different from American or Italian, for that matter, business culture, now that you work with?
Yeah, I don't work much. I don't work much with Italian, so for that I can speak more about, like, let's say general differences. I mentioned about, how direct you are in the communication. That's a big one, which is with Italy and the US as well. They are not as direct as American are or Italian are. So you need to get used to the way on how they deliver that to you. Beginning, I did not understand that, for instance, and for me, I was doing something and I thought was fine, and then going back, understanding, I was like, oh, he was actually saying that he was not happy with that, with that work. So I think, if you are working with people from certain countries, try to study a little bit more and reading more about these nuances, And I think also, like, let's say hierarchical wise, I think that's stronger there than here, I would say. So that needs to be respected as well. So got used to that, but that's also in Italy. So it was not very, very hard for me to get used to that. And yet I would say that's the main difference. Of course, again, being a multinational company, even though, let's say, you are Brazilian, right? But being multinational, you kind of get then that blend, I would say. So even myself now, it's kind of hard to consider myself like, yes, I'm Italian, I grew up there, but then I'm 8 years in the US, and I deal with, a lot of people from different countries. So it's kind of, I would say, like, you change a lot. So in a sense, now I'm way harder to interpret for somebody from the outside. Of course, the people that work with me understand that I'm very open, and I'm understanding of the different cultures. So I don't take things personally, but sometimes if you see me like walking by, you wouldn't be able to say, where I'm from. So I think it's like understanding that sometimes, like, a person might look like they are also from Italy, but maybe they are not. So it's getting that understanding that it's key, kind of recognize the difference, but also not stereotyping, because you never know how the person grew up and what can, have affected that person. So I think that's the biggest, takeaway. But again, if you ask, questions with respect, I think, like, you can ask most things, if you are curious and genuine about what you need to ask. So I think that's what helped me a lot, if I see a colleague and I'm not sure what's going on, then I'm like, hey, I don't want to be invasive. If you don't want to answer, don't answer. But, is there anything I did to offend you or something? And most of the time it's nothing, but I think it's having this kind of genuine understanding that you are not doing that because you want to attack the person, or, or even when you have to talk about performance, but you are just like genuine asking a question, then people are usually going to answer. So I think that's the main, thing that I would say that can help in any job and any personal relationship as well.
Well, we need to go on with our business days. So Federica is busy. We have a conference here. I will only say in conclusion, based on what I learned from this presentation, so do acquire new and different experiences. So within X-Culture, you can do the X-Culture project, but then you can become a coach, a senior coach, attend one of our face-to-face meetings. So the next one will be in Dubai, by the way, in July, in case you're interested. But also, Federica mentioned all those business case competitions, as well as other experiences. All of that obviously will prepare you not only for future careers, but it looks good on your resume, and also hopefully will impress your future employers. So stay busy as a student, develop your resume, and then good things will come. So hopefully it will work as good for you as well for you as it has for Federica. And Federica, congratulations on your family, kid, successful career. So when you become the CEO of one of these big airplane manufacturing companies, don't forget about us.
I will not.
Well, somebody's going to lead one of those.
Give us that ride.
Airbus and Embraer. So why not you? Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your experience and life story.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
And thank you to all the
Bye,
students
boss.
as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.